Howdy chaps, and welcome back to more regular programming. We are back on the XB coupe and we will be tackling the, I think it's the beaver panel and the bottom part of the tail light panel. The tail light panel itself is pretty good, but we just need to replace the bottom edge of it, and we're replacing the beaver panel. But the first thing we've got to do in this new video, and what we're doing, is we actually have to make some legs to put under the car so that I can actually remove the back half of the rotisserie, so I can actually fix and remove the rear parts of the car which actually happen to be bolted through the rotisserie. So that's what we're going to do first. Alrighty chaps, you might notice that the back half of the rotisserie is now off. I have measured up when we were cutting steel. If we go down under here through some rust that still needs to be fixed. I measured the gap in here, height to the floor, made sure we got some steel box tube that was a near perfect fit in there. It was actually very, very snug. And I got some 3mm plate welded to the bottom of it. It's actually ironic how easy it is to weld heavy steel. It is, and you get some really nice welds. Panel steel is particularly difficult. So welded the plate on that, drilled a hole, bolted it up there, sturdy, and then I was like, well, how am I going to stop this thing from rocking backwards and forwards and side to side? Well, square tube to the center, to the other one. These are all perfectly leveled. That way and that way, 100% straight and true. And then before this was disconnected, I welded it to that at a perfect right angle, despite the optical illusion that it looks like it isn't, but it is. So we've got, in theory, as long as none of those bolts undo, it shouldn't rock from either end, and it shouldn't go side to side, in theory. So I went for, yeah, that seems safe. I do like safety, and the car is about as secure as it would be on a hoist. But I needed to get this back half of the rotisserie off so that we can now hack into this beaver panel, which, sad thing is, it's not that bad, but all of this is hacked off from a previous repair. We're not removing the back panel because if you notice, this is actually a really, really good one, and it's not too bad. It's like one dent in it there. No point replacing it for that. Not 2 dents, sorry. But we're going to use the supplied tail light panel, which is a repro one, and we're going to just chop through here and use the bottom half, which aren't too bad, on a new beaver panel. So that's what we're going to tackle first. What I might do, just for my own peace of mind, is just put a square tube from here to the root channel, just so that when this is all undone, it shouldn't move. I don't think it will. It's very secure, but just for peace of mind, I'll just do that to ensure that when this panel is out, that doesn't actually, the whole back end doesn't just drop, which it won't, because all of this is still attached and the whole roof and quarters are still holding each other up, and the car's weight is actually being held off the front leaf spring mounts. So all of this is sort of just fairly straightforward, and I've done it before where I've taken these off and not braced it, but for this particular car I'm going to put it in just for a bit of peace of mind, make yourself feel a little bit better. And of course we don't have to do any sideways stuff because we're not actually taking off the beaver panel. Probably down the track I'll whittle off some small pieces, repair behind it, and then put repair sections in and fix that kind of stuff. But No real need to replace huge amounts of the car. A lot of this car is actually quite good. That quarter panel is, yeah, a little bit dented, but it's pretty good. Wheel arch is totally gone, and we need to order some of those, I just remembered. Both sides, and I'm not 100% certain whether or not they make inner sections. I need to ask Jamie about that, but I know I'll get some new sections. Also, I was discussing with Jamie from Custom Garage a while back. I really need to get in touch with him again. Just been super busy, but he can make you, these are for the coupe people by the way, I believe he can make you a quarter panel section which is, I think, halfway through the wheel arch, and he can go up to the style line and do all of that in one piece. And I believe he can do from here forward all of this in one piece as well. And I mean, we all know that he can make you an entire quarter panel if you wave enough money in his face. But the fact that you can get the front half and the back half is actually super handy. I had a suspicion he could do it, but I didn't know until I rang him and confirmed with it. But yes, don't need to do it on this car. And we've got a little bit of rust here. That's actually bulging quite nicely actually. But unlike that XC coupe, this one has some rust here, but the gutters and the roof skin are actually really good. So I figured a nice good repair, considering you have the parts here, and to get back into the swing of rust repairs, would be replace the beaver panel, replace the bottom of the taillight panel, and just fix the back end up. That way I can put the rotisserie back on, and I don't have to take it, in theory I don't have to take it back off again. So fix the repairs that need to be done with it off, then put it back on, and then that bit's done, and then I can do everything else. But this is really quite sturdy. I'm actually very happy with my little legs. Look at my little legs. So yes, we'll get stuck back into this. Alrighty chaps, so as you would have seen, I cut out the middle, I run a blade across the top, drilled out some spot welds, belt sanded out some corners where the spot weld drill bit was going to be a pain in the proverbial to get to, so I used a belt sander. I'd also strongly recommend that because sometimes it's way easier. We've got the old, I'm going to call it the beaver panel, or it's bumper bar panel, whichever you prefer. That is now off. I'm actually going to stop the video here and wrap it up because I think this is a good sort of stopping point, because, well, I'm trying to get back into the swing of YouTube, and I like to keep it a nice sort of not too long, not too short videos, and this is just a tester to sort of get me back into the swing of things. But then the next video we'll put the beaver panel in, fix some rust because we got some issues here. There's a baby hole here, there's a hole here, and some heavy pitting there. We'll probably replace that piece, and we've got to put in the inner rear quarters on both sides, and we'll probably replace and repair these and the ends and put them back in. So in the next video you'll see a lot more fabrication, you know, tweaking stuff and making doodads and hoo-has and whatnots. I'll also say that my sturdy legs actually are working fantastically. Very happy with that, worked out far better than I could ever possibly imagined. My little rod's in to hold the quarters up, even though I'm about 99% certain I didn't need to do that, but it's a peace of mind. But you know, it's a customer's car, and I'd prefer them not to get mad at me if something bad was happening and the car was slightly out of shape. So it's better to do that peace of mind. Also, for anybody doing this at home, if you think you should brace it, brace it. That's just my peace of mind, because it's also a safety margin. If you brace it up, then you know that it's going to be in the right spot, so that's something. And I keep getting told to show the tools that I'm using. This is a I did have a snap-on belt sander, not belt sander, right angle die grinder. It lasted a very long time but eventually died. This is like an $80 one from Super Cheap Auto, and it's very old and still works spectacularly well. Belt sander, I think you can buy battery powered ones these days, but this is an air powered one with a 10mm wide belt. Also pretty cheap and very useful. You don't need to buy the best of the best, I don't think so, because even the best of the best does eventually die, so you know, what's the point? You know, it's easy just to replace it with a brand new one every now and again. But that's where we're going to wrap it up. So I hope you like it. You might be like, oh, I wish there was more, but just let me get back into the swing of the videos. Also, I'd say that if you wondered why I oxyed out the middle, it's because if you've ever taken one of these off, it's a bit of a pain to release all of the corners, despite what you might think. There is actually a lot holding it in, and it's easier to zip out the middle and then just be left with two ends that you can tweak and work around a lot easier. Plus you can swing in and out of the car because you have the midsection missing. So I would suggest cut out what you definitely don't need, just chop it out, and then you can work with what you do need. And some of it is very, very good on this car. So this is probably one of the better coupes that I've worked on, I reckon. I say that, I should say, it's one of the better coupes I've worked on at the back. Not so much in the plenum chamber area yet. But yes, I will stop rambling, stop my waffle, and I'll see you on the next episode of XA Coupe Guy.